We did it. What's up, my
Um,
friends? Chrissy Crash here. Today, we are talking to someone who knows what it's like to feel totally stuck. Like feeling like that slowest one on the track, constantly comparing herself to everyone else and wondering if she actually even belonged there. But instead of giving up, Bryony Watson chose a different path. And this is something that started very small and really shifted into becoming a stronger skater, finding her voice, stepping up as a leader, not just in Derby, but in life. And so I really think that this is a story about progress versus perfection. So, welcome, Bryony. We're so excited to have you. Should we just dive in?
Hi. Yeah, let's go. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's rewind to the beginning. So, what was going through your mind during those moments when you really felt like you were stuck, like you were holding your team back? Like, what was that like for you, feeling like you were that weakest link?
Well, I guess I kind of started roller derby in 2018, and the start of my career was quite stop-start because I moved around a lot for university and internships. So I
Mhm.
actually started in London with London Rock and Rollers. I then passed through their fresh meat intake. I know we don't say that anymore in the UK, but I passed through that and then moved. Then ended up doing a stint with Old Rike, then moved again, went with Newcastle for a bit, then COVID hit. So it felt like from the beginning, my skate journey was quite stop start. So when I
Mm,
eventually joined Middlesbrough and felt like, this is where we're staying now, we've bought the house, I'm not moving again, and started to make connections in the team and got scrim cleared, it felt like a big achievement at the time. But then as time passed on, I noticed that the people that I'd got scrim cleared with at the same time, the people that I did my first scrims with, they were then getting better. One of them was winning jammer, like best jammer all the time, and it was watching other people achieve and feeling like I wasn't really noticeable or effective on track. And then
mhm.
as time went on, people that we'd had in the newer intakes that we'd helped coach up were then surpassing me. We've now got star jammers that started like a year, 2 years after me. And it felt like for the at the time it felt like for the effort I was putting in, I should have been seeing more results. But when I looked
Mm.
back, I kind of thought, well, am I actually putting in the effort? I think. But it was like
Oh.
it was a struggle. It's like knowing what to do, how to get better. You look at others and you think, but are they putting in the effort? All I'm seeing is everyone showing up on the Thursday and not thinking about what everyone else was actually doing. So I think
Yeah.
it's so easy to compare your life to everyone else's highlight reels
Hmm.
to an extent. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was getting to a point where it was kind of like, do I do I give up? Is this for me? Do I quit skating? And at the beginning of 2024, before I got in contact with you, Team Scotland had put advertisements out for their trials, and I'd had one last kind of last ditch effort. Like this was my dream back in 2018 when I started with LLR, because we had a girl on the team there who played for Team Scotland, and it had always been the goal. And I was like, you know what, I'll go in. I'm not going to get it, but I'll see what they're doing and I'll see what's happening. So
Hmm.
went to the Team Scotland trials, and it was about this time that you'd advertised, do you want to be a jammer, or do you want to up your jammer skills? And I'd applied as a jammer. So I thought, this feels a bit like something's connecting here.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's either I give it a shot, see what happens, or I quit. Like,
Hmm.
these are the
Wow. So this
options.
was like this was like the moment for you. So when you and I first started talking, you were like, I really like this sport, but I'm seeing everyone pass me by. Like I not really having connected the difference between putting in the time and putting in the effort, like because those were two different things.
Yeah,
And so you were at this point where you were like, well, I either need to like put up or I need to get out.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. And so in that process, how did your mindset set change around progress versus perfection? What did that shift start to look like for you?
Well, when I first joined Crash Course and when I did the 16 weeks, when I was talking to Coach Sin and doing the calls, there was a lot about mindset and also intentional training. So
Mhm.
for me, it was kind of like realizing there's a difference between showing up to a practice and going through the motions and actually intentionally go into a practice and looking to achieve things, or intentionally working with like your nutrition or your off
Mhm.
skate skills, and putting in the effort to actually see the results instead of just, well, I showed up, why am I not good yet?
Right, right. And so some of that is it's learning to take the responsibility, right? So many times we
Yeah,
show up to practice and we think like, well, I'm here. Okay, someone trained me to make me better versus
yeah.
like, how can I show up and like take that responsibility on myself? What are the things that you specifically needed to work on? How could you be focusing on those things? And what did you notice as a result of that? The combination of working with Coach Sin and like the off skates training and then starting to intentionally come into practices. What did you see happen over those 16 weeks?
So over the first 16 weeks, the changes were quite subtle, and it was more like mindset changes and then starting to get just a bit fitter on track. But it
Yeah.
was more going in and being able to look at the mistakes that I was making on track. And instead of being, oh, I've made a mistake, I'm so crap at this, why am I not doing it? It's like, I've made a mistake. So what caused that mistake and what can I bring to my training to make that better and to avoid this in future? So it was starting to
Mhm.
notice the things that I couldn't do, not as flaws or anything wrong, but here's where the
Just
work needs to go
information.
in.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think that in itself
Amazing.
was like a helpful mindset shift.
Yeah. And
And
now
yeah.
you had said also that your self-talk really shifted over the course of this. How has that sort of relationship with you changed?
So I think it's along the same lines. So before everything that happened, it was kind of like it was happening to me. And it was like, oh damn, I've fallen over, I've done this wrong, I've blocked the wrong
Mhm.
jammer, what am I doing? Oh, why am I always like this? But then it was more like my mindset shifted that it's everything's a learning experience. So it's like when you do a jam, you can look at that jam. This is what happened. It's not a fault of mine. It's not a fault of other people's. This is
Mhm.
what happened. This is what we could do to change it. Maybe next time I go and I focus on X, Y, and Z. And I think breaking things down to look at things from that kind of, I want to say, outside perspective, instead of making everything so,
Mhm.
oh, it's me, I'm crap. I think
Mm,
that's
yeah,
changed.
being
And
able to
also
be
a lot of,
like above it.
yeah, and a lot of my self-talk's changed, where it's I do talk to myself a lot more positively now. So it's like going on
Mhm.
track. I'll try and look at things like, oh, if I can do one thing, then that'll be great. I remember, I think maybe about 6 months in, 5 months in, we went to do a mixed scrim, and there was a few of them from our team, and one of our good jammers who has been helping me kind of build up my jamming skills alongside Crash Course,
Mhm.
she was like, you should jam and do it while you've got the chance, and then I'll try and coach you through each jam. So I'd go on track, and she'd be like, right, so when you go on track right now, all I want you to do is hit the wall and push that wall for a bit. So I'd do
Nice.
that, and then the next time she'd be like, you did well pushing the wall. So next time I want you to do that, and then just take a step to the side and get out of their way. And she built it up, so every jam, instead of worrying about what I hadn't achieved on the last jam, I was thinking about what are the next steps, which I
Mhm.
think was really helpful. And by the fifth jam, I'd got lead. I mean, it took five
Amazing.
jams, but it was that small steps where in the past I wouldn't have even tried.
Mhm.
And I
And
think
how do
that
you
help as well is,
and how do you feel like that kind of sort of idea of like taking those smaller steps or shifting the way that you're perceiving the challenges, how has that affected even other areas of your life, like work, relationships, all that stuff? Are you noticing it impacting like outside of Derby?
yeah, I think so. Because I think it's like it's finding that ability to make things less overwhelming instead of looking at like our best players and being like, oh, I'll never be as good as them. They're so amazing. Where did they get these skills? It's then like, well, I can do this right now. Maybe next week I'll be able to do the next step. So even sitting down with Sin and setting goals for the year. So we have like the ultimate goal. Well, the ultimate goal was that I wanted to do an apex jump, I think, but I've done that now. So we need a new one.
Yes.
But it was sitting down and breaking these goals down. So we need to do, I want to do this. What does that look like in 12 weeks? What does that look like in so many months?
Hmm.
And make it more manageable. And I feel like I've been
Hmm.
doing that with other areas of life as well. So one of the things I'm working on at the moment is we'd recognized, or my gym buddy had recognized, that I'm very good at going to the gym if she's there. But if she's not there, I'm very good at skipping the gym. So
Ah,
the current thing at the moment is working on building up going to the gym on my own and being brave
mhm.
enough to take up that space. And I
Amazing.
think I'm an engineer, so it's quite a male dominated area. So bringing that same energy into that area as well, it's been quite helpful.
Mhm.
Having a bit more self
Amazing.
confidence in what I'm saying and changing my mindset, like, I can do this.
Mhm.
If everyone else can, why can't I?
Yep. Yeah.
So
I love that. Amazing. And you stepped into some leadership roles now. I mean, to go from being passed over and watching everyone fly by, now a year plus later, now you've stepped into this leadership role as a coach and a captain. Like, how did that opportunity come about? How do you feel like the work that you've been doing with us in this last, year has really impacted that shift? All of that. Like, how did it change how you saw yourself? That was like three questions at once.
So the captaincy, I was the captain before joining Crash Course, but as I said to Sin in our catch-up meeting, our initial meeting, it was an accidental captainship.
Mhm.
So when our team, we'd came back after COVID, the team when I joined, and they'd lost quite a few of their members over COVID. Not like lost them, like life had changed and stuff,
Sure.
priorities had changed.
Yeah.
So so when we came back and when I joined, there wasn't really that structure. There wasn't a captaincy or a
Mm.
committee. So when we came towards our first game, they'd kind of asked, "Does anyone want to have a shot at being captain?" And I'd said, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot," thinking it was for the one game.
Oh,
And then the next game, rolled around. They're like, "Well, as captain, you should be doing X, Y, and Z." And it was like, "Oh, so I am permanent captain. Okay, cool." But yeah, so it was kind of an accidental captaincy. But since joining Crash Course, getting like tips from the group calls and things. So
mhm.
uh, Coach Pia has been really good at giving advice on things to do. One of the things I tried recently at one of our last games was these little sweary affirmations. Because I'm still fairly new, I'm not so good at kind of that riling the team up with what we're going to do, here's our plays, here's our offense, here's our defense, this is what we're going to achieve. Because I don't fully understand that myself. I'm still learning this. So the
Yeah.
sweary affirmations was a nice way for me as a newer captain to be able to be like, so everyone take one of these. We're all going to shout out what our affirmation is. And when you go on track, remember your affirmation, kick ass. If it doesn't go the way you want, come off, look at your affirmation, shout it again, and kick ass on the next one. So I got a lot of good feedback from a lot of the newer members of the team that were in a similar boat to me, and like, you're scared, you want to do well, but you're worried that you're going to let the team down. That they said that it
Mhm.
helped build their confidence, and it was quite a
Amazing.
successful thing. And I think even our vets seemed to enjoy it, at least, even though they seemed more confident than we were. But it's
Yeah.
little things like that that made me feel like it felt more like I was taking on that captaincy role as my own rather than just
Mm.
kind of trying to do what I thought the last captain may have done or what the team expected or whatever. So
Yeah.
I went from being this kind of lost captain to more of a, okay, I'm going to own this shit. I am the captain now, I
Amazing.
guess. I'll lead the way I
Amazing.
want
So
to lead.
yeah, and so really like stepping into that confidence of like, okay, I can do this. I am
Yeah.
here and you can step into it. I love that. Now, I know that motivation and kind of like low energy was like a thing for you. So how was that before? Like what did you struggle with in terms of your energy and motivation? And then what's shifted for you since?
I think just doing things in general. I don't want to use the word lazy because I mean I've recently found out that I've got ADHD and this lazy is quite offensive. But I feel like I did just struggle with like setting myself off to do things if it was something that would benefit me, then I
Hmm.
found it really easy to let myself down. Like I'm
Hmm.
not going to be mad at me. I know what I thought about when I let myself down. I'm not going to hold it against me. I was there. Whereas when it comes to other people, I'm a lot more worried about letting other people down. So I think
Hmm.
in the initial weeks, just having Coach Sin there and knowing that she had certain expectations made it a bit easier to start. So it's like, oh,
Mm.
I don't want to miss this workout because I don't want Coach Sin to be disappointed. And then
Yep.
as I built up, kind of getting into the routines and working out what routines actually worked for me, it then became easier to kind of build that. Well, actually, no, we don't want to let ourselves down. Like, look at the progress we're making. So it helped having the initial accountability to then build that internal accountability, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep. To get the momentum going.
Yeah, exactly. And I
I
think
love that.
working with Sin as well, we've kind of worked on what actually gets me to do things. So things like she'll make sure that when she sets my workouts, the time at the top doesn't say it lasts more than 30 minutes. The workout itself can last an hour and a half, but as long as mentally I see that it's only going to take 30 minutes, I'll get into the gym and I'll do it. So it's all these little tricks like that we've worked on together to
Hmm.
make sure that I actually do the things.
Sin is really good at that. Like Coach Sin is like she's just I think because she also has ADHD that like she's so good at like what are the mental gymnastics that have to be done in order to make sure that the thing gets executed. She's so good at it.
Exactly. It's like trying to control a toddler in my mind sometimes. It's like
Exactly.
how can we lay out the treats and convince them? Where's the carrot on the stick we can dangle?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been
Yeah.
really good building up these things. And then things as well, like every other workout routine, I've done stuff in the past and it's always seemed like, oh, you have to get up early and do all these hours of
Mhm.
cardio and all this other stuff. And actually learning that sometimes it's just the routines. Sometimes a workout's as simple as getting into the gym, showing up and doing the warm up. And if that's as
Mhm.
much as you can do, at least you've done something instead of nothing. And
Yep.
sometimes getting in and doing that warm up leads to, okay, well, I'll just do the first set. That doesn't look that hard. Oh, well, I'll just do the second set. And before you know it, you've done half the workout. You've been in the gym for an hour and you're like, I'm still here.
Like I did it. Yeah, that's it, right? Baby stepping your way through the thing, handing the toddler like one piece of popcorn at a time. You're like, come on, little buddy, we're going.
Exactly.
Now, what would be if you look back at like yourself pre-crash course, or maybe someone that's watching this that's maybe in a similar situation where they're like watching people pass them by and they're just like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Like, what would you say to that person or that version of yourself?
Well, first off, like comparison is the thief of joy. I know it's a
Mhm.
cliche, but it's so true.
Mhm.
When you like the skaters that I was seeing them on a Thursday for 2 hours, and that was the snapshot of their lives that I was seeing.
Mhm.
Like the skaters on my team, a lot of them are amazing, but I've not seen how long it took them to get there. I've not seen the blood, sweat, and tears they've put in to get there. I've not seen the backgrounds that they've came from. I'm not part of that part of their lives. So it's like certain people like say if you started ice skating as a child or if you were always at the roller rink, you're going to do a lot better than someone that's roller derby is the first sport they've ever picked up. So like for
Right.
me, for example, I used to skive PE at school, physical education, um, to the point where I'd actually got my dad to write them a letter saying that they didn't want me doing PE because I had to study for my importance exams. So teenage me looking at this would be shocked that I do this much workout and fitness stuff for fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
you don't see these things, and sometimes it's that you're missing. Like you're maybe not considering all the additional work that everyone else might be putting in, or the things that they have worked on.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
sounds like
yeah,
just being willing to lean in then and go, okay, if this is the work, then it's just time to do the work.
yeah, exactly. Nothing good
Yeah.
comes for free.
Yeah. Well, and so what would you say to someone because we're just wrapping up our Jammer accelerator cohort. We're just launching our blocker accelerator cohort. So what would you say to someone that right now is maybe in that position where they're feeling really frustrated and like they're thinking like, I don't know, is this the thing for me? Like what would you say to someone that's maybe on the fence or like unsure about like crash course?
I think it was definitely worth it. Um, I think I did have my doubts in the beginning because you
Mhm.
do. I think when you've been through a lot of different workout programs, you start to think, oh, they're all the same. Am I going to stick to this? I gave up the other
Mhm.
one in like a week. I managed 2 weeks with the next one. So it is like you do kind of think like there is always that worry. I think we all probably have it, especially as women. We get so many workout programs and things thrown at us. Get fit for summer, get a bikini body in 12 weeks, all this other stuff.
Oh my God.
But I think
Hmm.
Crash Course, it's been a lot more personalized, and I feel like without intending to, I probably have tested this a lot with Sin. Like things like, oh, I've managed to twist my ankle at a session. What do I do now? I can't do my workouts. But she's always been able to kind of change things up and accommodate anything that I've needed. So it
Hmm.
has been a lot more personal than you've got these 5 workouts. You have to do these. If you don't do them, you failed. It's
Right.
there's always been that flex, and I think the flex is what's enabled me to stick with it. And
Amazing.
even in the weeks where I've barely been able to do anything, like when I've been ill or whatever, Sin's always found something that I could do, whether it's like some kind of restorative yoga or something else to make me feel like I am still doing something, which I
Hmm.
think that in itself helps stop the, oh, well, I've missed one day, so might as well throw in the towel. I've failed the whole program.
Hmm.
It's
And just
it's
keep.
been yeah, it's like not I'm not constantly restarting. It's just, oh, we're just easing off a bit because of this life thing, and then we're easing back in and going with the ebbs and flow of life. And I think it's felt more natural and more of a lifestyle change than just I'm going to follow this 12-week program and then be done.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Well, Bryony, I mean, your story, I feel like, is just such a powerful reminder that like growth isn't always like this big, flashy, magical thing. You know, sometimes it's just like it's the showing up when you don't feel like it. And sometimes it's those little baby steps of choosing kindness to yourself over criticism. And I think sometimes realizing that that leadership starts the moment that like you decide that you belong there, not necessarily the moment that they hand you the captain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So and so I just want to say, first of all, to you, congratulations. We're so proud of you. We're so excited to continue to be part of your journey. And it's just been so fun watching you like just grow and nail that apex jump. I mean, we were all the coaches, we were like, we are so excited. We have like a thread with all the coaches, you know. But we've just been like really, really proud of you and the work that you've been putting in. And so, you know, anyone that's watching, whether you're like in the middle of like a confidence dip or like you're trying to find your way back into feeling really great on the track, I just want you to know you're not alone. And just to keep going, you know, because your turning point might be a lot closer than you think. And, you know, we are opening up 8 spots this month. So if anyone is interested in applying to see what it would look like to work with Crash Course, I will drop a link in the comments below. If you're watching this on Instagram, you can go to the link in my bio. And there's like a quick video to watch so you can see what's the program all about. And then there's an application form from there. And from there, we would hop on the phone, see if it's a good fit, and then work on leveling up your derby game like crazy if we all decide to work together. But yeah, so Bryony, I just want to say thank you so much. Like I said, we're just so proud of you and just been celebrating you every step along the way. And thank you for taking the time to come on here and share because I think this is such an important part of the journey. You know, it's like life is a contact sport, and so we have to like help each other win. You know, so thank you for taking the time to do this.
No, thank you. It's been really great. And I can't wait to see what I'm going to achieve in the rest of the year.
Yeah, just the beginning, baby. Let's go.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, my dear. Well, thank you everyone so much for watching, and we will see you next time.